Yeah, we back. Yeah, we back. Now, today's video is going to be a follow-up video to one I dropped earlier in the day entitled FBA versus Pan-Africanism, O'Shea Duke Jackson versus Shay Sharday. Classic video. Go check that out. Now, I wanted to expand and clarify something that I mentioned in that video. I had addressed one of Tariq Nasheed's famous talking points and propaganda pieces where he says Pan-Africanism is an uneven exchange, right? Oh, this is favorite. Oh, it's one-sided. Pan-Africanism is one-sided. And of course, in the video that I did responding to O'Shea Duke Jackson earlier, he used the same exact talking point. And of course, I addressed it, and of course, I crushed it. But I raised the argument that you cannot say that it's an uneven exchange or that you don't get anything in return when the systems are not in place, the mechanisms are not in place for you to capitalize off that value. Now, I'm going to play the clip from O'Shea from earlier in the video, and then after that, I'm going to crush that talking point. I'm going to destroy that argument once and for all. Run the footage, I'll be right back.
The real issue that FBA has with some of these other groups out there that come to America is that, listen, historically, we've been contributing to the Pan-African ideology or to other black immigrants coming into America. I believe that Martin Luther King signed the Immigrant Act of 1965, which helped black immigrants come into America. And what African Americans are saying is that, hey, listen, you guys don't really give the same respect back to us. And again, this is what Dr. Claude Anderson predicted a long time ago.
Have an unending influx of immigrants into the country.
Now, I love the fact that O'Shea brought up Claude Anderson, right? Because we're going to talk about the circulation of the black dollar. And I was listening to Claude Anderson back when I was 17, 18 years old. So I'm sure that he'll agree with everything I'm about to say because I am a student of Claude Anderson. Now, guys like Tariq Nasheed, guys like O'Shea Duke Jackson, they say that the black immigrant does not contribute. The black immigrant does not provide any value. And I raised the argument that you cannot say that the black immigrant does not provide value when you do not have any mechanisms in place to capitalize off that value within the system of capitalism. Now, what do I mean by that? Every individual, every family in the United States is an economic asset because they're going to be contributing to the economy. They're going to be going to work. They're going to be buying and selling. They're going to be stimulating growth in the economy if they're a productive citizen. Now, when a black immigrant family arrives in the country, they have needs that need to be met, right? They got to find housing. They got to buy furniture. They got to set up their utilities. They have to get situated. They got to buy a phone. They got to do some shopping, got to buy some clothes. Now, when it comes to housing, right? When I say these mechanisms are not in place, in order for you to capitalize off the black immigrant that needs housing, you have to have a space for rent. You have to be a landlord offering a space for me to move in. That's how you benefit off the housing. Now, once I get the house, once I get the apartment, I'm not going to be living in an empty apartment. I need to buy a couch. I need to buy a sofa. I need to buy a fridge. I need to buy a dresser, a table. I need to buy, utilities and furniture for the house. Now, are there large scale retail corporations that sell furniture? Yeah, of course, there's some local, black-owned furniture stores, but on a level of Walmart or an IKEA or on a large scale that's easily found? Not really. So the white man's probably going to get that money. Walmart, IKEA, things like that. Now, I have furniture in my house. Which groups have capitalized off the black immigrant dollar so far when it comes to housing and furniture? Probably the Jewish community, the Middle Eastern community, the Arabs, right? Probably, the white community. But the black man has not yet touched this dollar yet, right? So you've already missed out on 2 opportunities. Now let's continue. Now, of course, I'm going to need internet, things like that. So AT&T is probably going to get my money. Comcast, Verizon is probably going to get my money. Now, we've already made it past housing, furniture, and, utilities and internet, things like that. And the black dollar has still not yet been circulated. Now let's continue. Now, of course, I need to pay my rent. I need to pay my bills. I need to pay my light bill, my water, my, internet bill, things like that. If you got kids, you got a wife, you probably got to pay insurance, probably got, you got things that need to be kept up, right? So now you got to find work. You got to find a job, right? You got to find a job. Now, in an ideal scenario, there would already be black-owned businesses, black-owned corporations, black-owned vertically integrated enterprises ready to absorb me as soon as I arrive in the country, right? Just like the Arabs and the Chinese and the Indians and the Jews got the economic networks already in place to absorb their people, right? In a perfect world, in an ideal scenario. But as we know, that's not the reality of the matter. So most likely that black immigrant is going to be working for an outsider, right? And if you remember about the Haitian migrant situation in Ohio, you had the CEO of the factory, right? He was capitalizing off the incoming influx of Haitian migrants because of the labor he was able to capitalize off of, right? Because he had the systems and mechanisms in place to plug them into his system, right? To plug them into his corporation. That's what I mean. You remember, they went to the local, the Indian guy that owned the laundromat, and he said, man, Haitians are my #1 client base ever since they arrived, right? Because when the Haitians arrived, he already had a storefront. He already had something already in place to plug them in for them to spend their dollar, for them to spend their money, for them to be a client, for them to buy and sell, right? So that's what I mean when I say the systems are not in place, right? These other groups have these systems in place already to capitalize off that black dollar. In fact, that CEO of the factory in Ohio that I was talking about, take a look up on the screen. An Ohio businessman faces death threats for praising his Haitian workers. A 5th-generation resident in the small city between Columbus and Dayton, Mr. McGregor was struggling a few years ago to fill positions for machine operators, forklift drivers, and quality inspectors. Mr. McGregor, 48 years old, began hiring Haitians who had recently settled in Springfield. They now represent about 10% of McGregor Metals' labor force of 330. Now, this is the CEO of that company right here. But black man, that's supposed to be you capitalizing off that. You're supposed to be reaping that benefit, right? But unfortunately, like I said, due to the fact that these systems and mechanisms are not already in place, these networks, these economic networks are not already in place, the black man is not able to capitalize off the black dollar. And we understand the historical reasons behind that, right? We understand the history behind that. But that's why I'm just correcting the issue, because you cannot say that the black immigrant provides no value and the black immigrant is simply taking advantage and I'm not able to reap the benefit. But you are not in the position to reap the benefit, so you're not telling the entire story. I've always been of the belief that when the black man arrives in the country, he should be able to go to the black man for employment. He should be able to go to the black man to buy a cell phone. He should be able to go to the black man's, retail store to buy clothes. He should be able to go to the black man's shoe store to buy new Jordans. He should be able to go to the black man's store to buy a new suit. He shouldn't have to go to the white man to work in a factory. He shouldn't have to go to the Indian man to go to the laundromat. He should be able to go to the black man to provide all his goods and services. I've always been of that belief, right? But we have to be honest, those systems are not in place in the United States on a large scale to accommodate all of us. So how can you launch the argument that the black migrant provides no contribution when we do not have the systems in place to capitalize off that black dollar? We have to be honest, man. We have to tell the truth when we are speaking to the public. Now let's continue. Now, the black immigrant family, they got housing, right? They got a place to stay. They got their furniture. They got their internet, their utilities. They got a job, right? They're working somewhere at a job. Now they have to purchase their daily needs, right? They have to do their grocery shopping every week, right? Now, who's going to get the money on the grocery shopping, right? Are there black-owned supermarkets and food suppliers across the country to capture this dollar, to capture this spending? Do we have a large-scale retail chains? No, we don't. No, we don't. So in an ideal scenario, the black man is supposed to already have the supermarket, the storefront already ready. But on a large scale, it's not ready. So it's probably going to be Walmart. It's probably going to be Costco's, probably going to be Whole Foods, probably going to be Stop and Shop. It's probably going to be, if you're in the Midwest, probably going to be Hy-Vee. That's what it is. Now, of course, there's going to be, local spots depending on where you live. But on a large scale, it's not there, right? And we have to work on establishing those things and establishing those systems instead of trying to make these false arguments saying that, oh, I'm not able to capitalize and take advantage, but I don't even have the infrastructure in place to take advantage. Now let's continue. Now, of course, the black immigrant family, they got to buy a car, right? You got to drive around, wife got to go to work, kids got to go to school, kids got to go, do their activities. So I'm going to need to buy a car, right? So I'm going to need to go to the dealership, right? The black man got to have car dealerships, used car dealerships, right? The black man got to be ready. The infrastructure got to be there, right? My car's going to break down, so I got to go to the mechanic, right? So when I go to the mechanic, I go to a black man, right? I go to a black man to handle my business. So the black man captures my dollar when it comes to going to the mechanic, things like that, right? You got to go to the gas station. Usually black men, ain't really owning gas stations like that, at least not by me. It's probably going to be the little Indian dudes. So, the Indian man, he don't get the money at the gas station. Now, you might need to go to got to go to the doctor, got to get the health care, got to pick up my medicine at the pharmacy. Now, my family owns pharmacy, so we are able to capture the black dollar as well as many other communities' dollars because we got the amlodipine, we got the blood pressure medication, we got the cholesterol medication, we got the antipsychotic medication. You know what I'm saying? We got the birth control, we got the antibiotics, we got all that. So we have established that infrastructure to circulate the black dollar, right? Because, you know, like it or not, our people are very sick, right? They need their blood pressure medication. They need their cholesterol medication. They need all that. They need their metformin for their sugar. They need their goddamn test strips. They need that, you know, they need all that, bro. But even when it comes to that, we need to expand it so we are able to compete with the big boys like the Walgreens and the CVS and things like that. But even within industries, there are different levels within industries. Like in pharmacy, the retail pharmacy level is only one level, right? There's companies that operate at the manufacturing level. So black men need to have, you know, pharmaceutical manufacturers. Then you also need, you know, the wholesale distributors. That's another level. And then it gets to the retail pharmacy, right? So there's different levels, man. So like I said, the black man got to be vertically integrated, and the black man got to be circulating his dollar and got to have the infrastructure in place. So not only are you able to circulate your dollar, but you are able to provide goods and services to your community and keep the dollar circulating inside the group. Now let's continue. Now we went through all the different levels, everything a family is going to need in order for them to survive. Now at this point, everything else is going to be like miscellaneous, right? Maybe going out to eat at a restaurant. Now in this section, you know, black folks got this covered. We got restaurants for days, right? We got restaurants for days. So, you know, we got restaurants, you know, cafes, you know, little spots like that. So when it comes to that, we can circulate our dollar, you know, on that level. But we need to have networks of businesses, supply chains ready to absorb our people, right? To circulate our money multiple times within the community, able to employ our people. That is how you're really going to build economic and political power in a country like this based on capitalism. You need large scale black owned enterprises in retail, transportation, essential services, utilities, everything, bro. Everything. There has to be economic infrastructure in place, period, point blank. And if that infrastructure is not in place, you cannot complain and talk about how you're not able to benefit off the black immigrant community, right? You got to have something for sale, man. You got to have something for sale, especially O'Shea Duke Jackson, if you're going to be quoting Claude Anderson, because everything I just mentioned, Claude Anderson would agree with everything I just said. Now, hopefully we can put this to rest. We can put this nonsense to rest. You know what I mean? That's the stupidest shit I ever heard. How the fuck you gonna say you can't benefit, but you don't got nothing for sale, my nigga? That is outrageous. Anyways, man, it's your boy Never Card. That's Celine back in the Billy. Yes, indeed. Cash App in the description. Support the channel, man. Support the album. Peace.
No, feel like I'm 75. Know that your team be full of them traders. You know that can never be mine. I'm grabbing a thought when I drive. I'm back in my zone and we on. She said that she ready to come be my wife. Yeah, hoping I don't do her wrong. I gave her my word in this bond. I'm whipping the best like a lamb. I mean no chicken and lamb. Accustomed to call me the man. I never be up on the gram. I'm keeping that way undercover. She want me to tell her I love her. I told her I'm breaking the rules. I told her we making the news. Back in my city they loving me. Standing alone I'm 100 deep. Enemy plotting and still in reach. They trying to make sure that we underneath. Trying to make sure that we never make it. Coming for power, come get acquainted. Coming for everything that I wanted. Feeling like Drake, but I really wrote it. Feeling like Kendrick, I'm checking names. Gotta roll up while I go insane. Got so much stress, I been gated away. Stuffing these racks in this Louis case. One thing for certain, I'm about to check. Keep it 100 and nothing less. Stick with the family since day one. Had to stay down till my day come. Had to stay down, but I'm never patient. Hop on the mic and I'm motivated. Hop on the mic and I drive a classic. Haters can't see me, they copping glasses. Back in the studio making magic. Got a new tape and it's in production. Back on my business, I got a budget. Staying low key when I'm out in public. Feel like I'm 75. Know that your team be full of them traders. You know that can never be mine. I'm grabbing a thought when I drive. I'm back in my zone and we on. She said that she ready to come be my wife. Yeah, hoping I don't do her wrong. I gave her my word in this bond. I'm whipping the best like a lamb. I mean no chicken and lamb. Accustomed to call me the man. I never be up on the gram. I'm keeping that way undercover. She want me to tell her I love her. I told her I'm breaking the rules. I told her we making the news. Making it new, making it new.